Okay, so second set of notes for today is going to be unit 9.4.
Awesome.
And this one is just going to be writing the equation of a circle. Okay, so unit 9.4. And we're just going to work on write the equation of a circle. Okay, so the reason that we did changing the form on parabolas yesterday is mainly because we're going to do the same thing for all the other shapes. So I'm going to ask you to put the following into the form x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to change some equations into this type of form and then state the center and radius.
So we're going to be turning rectangles into circles.
No.
So
for number 1, x squared plus y squared plus 4x plus 10y equals 7. So basically, if I just asked you to state the center and the radius for this equation, you couldn't do it right now because it's not in the correct form. So just like we did yesterday with parabolas, you have to complete the square. Okay, we're going to end up having to complete the square, but you have to do it for both x and y. Okay, so we're going to complete the square for both x and y. Complete the square. Sean. For both.
Separately?
Huh?
Do we do it separately or
and y?
Or one number for both of them?
They have to be separate. Okay, so first thing you want to do is put the x's together. So you're going to just line things up a little bit differently. Put the x's together and put the y's together. Because as it's written right now, they're not together. So you're going to put the x's together and put the y's together. So x squared plus 4x. And then this is where we're going to leave that space in order to complete the square. Okay, then plus, we're going to put the y's together. So y squared plus 10y, and again, leave a space. And this is equal to 7 on the right side. Now I want you to complete the square. So to complete the square for x, you take its middle number. So what's the middle number for the x equation? 4. Middle number divided by 2 and square it. So that's going to leave you with 2 squared. So what would you add in for the x? Plus 4. Now, if you add it to one side, you have to add it to the other side. So you're also going to add 4. Then complete the square for y. So again, we're going to take the middle number. What would you say is the middle number for the y equation? 10. Middle number divided by 2 and square it. So 10 divided by 2 is going to give you 5. 5 squared tells you you're going to add what to both sides? 25. Now, luckily, we are never going to have to do any of the things where you have to multiply, though. Okay, because circles always just have x squared by itself. There's never any numbers in front, so there's no a values on circles, which is nice. Okay. Now we just have to clean things up. So how would you write this as a binomial squared? What's being squared inside of the x? Plus 2. Comes straight from that parentheses. So x plus 2 squared plus what goes inside with the y being squared? What's inside with the y being squared? 5. So plus 5 equals, add all these together. So 7 plus 4 plus 25 gives you what? 36. Then if I ask you to find the center and radius, all you're going to do is change the sign from both the center parentheses, so -2, -5, and your radius would be what? 6. Square root of whatever's on the right side, that is your answer. So this was actually asking for 2 parts. One of them was the equation, the other part was the center and radius. So these are both your answers. Questions on how I did that? Not too bad, hopefully. Okay. excuse me. Let me try another one. So number 2. Again, we want to put the following into that form and then state the center and radius. So x squared plus y squared minus 4x plus 6y plus 1 equals 0. X squared plus y squared minus 4x plus 6y plus 1 equals 0. What do you think you would need to do first here? Put the x's and y's together. So the x squared is going to be grouped together with the minus 4x. You want to leave a space. Then organize your y's together, so plus y squared minus 6y. Again, leave your space. What do you think is going to happen with this 1? Does it belong here? No. Where should I put it? On the other side. So to move it to the other side, you'd get a negative 1. Okay, you just subtract 1. Thank you. Plus 6y. Thank you. Okay, now complete the square for the x. So take the middle number divided by 2 and square it. Make sure you take that negative. So negative 4 divided by 2 and squared. So what are you going to add to both sides of the parentheses? Or both sides of the equation, excuse me. Positive 4. So add 4. Make sure if you add it to one side, you add it to the other side as well. Then do the same thing for the y. Complete the square for the y equation. So 6 divided by 2 and square it. What would I add to both sides for the y? Plus 9. Again, add to both sides. Then rewrite these as a binomial squared. So what's being squared inside of the x? Negative 2. Take the sign with it, so x minus 2 squared plus y, what goes inside of the y? Plus 3. And what's left on the right side? Negative 1 plus 4 plus 9. 12. Okay, then to find the center and radius, center, you have to switch the sign, so what would your center be? Positive 2, negative 3. And what about the radius? Square root of whatever's on the right side, so square root of 12. You do need to simplify that, and what does the square root of 12 simplify to be? 2 radical 3. If you didn't automatically see that, you could break this down. Okay, and remember you're looking for pairs, so you could take out a pair of 2, and left behind is a 3. So center, radius, standard equation. Questions on how I did that? Okay, now let's make it just a little bit more challenging. Okay, for example number 3, we're still doing the same thing, same instructions. Rewrite this in the correct form, as well as identify center and radius of the equation. 5x squared plus 20x plus 5y squared minus 30y equals 15. 5x squared plus 20x plus 5y squared minus 30y equals 15. So just like we did with parabolas yesterday, you want to get rid of that a value. So for the x portion, let's just look at the x portion. This was already lined up together. So for the x portion, what would you say is the a value, the value attached to the x squared? 5. So we're going to factor out just the number attached to the square. So 5 left behind would be x squared plus what? 4x. Now I'm going to leave a space. Okay? How about for the y's? What can I take out of the y's? 5. Okay? These are always, for circles, they're going to be the exact same value. Okay? When we get to other shapes, it's not always going to be that way. But for now, these are going to end up being the same value. Now, according to my general rule, when I first gave this to you, what is in front of the squares here? What number should be in front of the squares? Should there be any numbers in front here? No. So how do you think you're going to get rid of that number? Divide it away. Okay, so we're going to divide the entire thing by 5. So we're going to divide by 5 on this side and 5 on that side. And what's going to end up happening here is these just go away, and that's fine. Okay? So these go away. We're going to be left with x squared plus 4x. You still have that space. Plus y squared minus 6y, and you still have that space. 15 divided by 5 is going to leave you with a 3. Then I want to complete the square. So if you complete the square for the x, middle number divided by 2 and square it. So what should I add in with the x parentheses? It's going to go inside here with the x. Plus 4. You add it to one side, add it to the other side as well. Then do the same thing, complete the square for y. So negative 6 divided by 2 and square it. What should I add in the parentheses with the y? Plus 9. Again, both sides. Then I want to rewrite these as completed square equations. So x squared plus 4x plus 4, how do I write that as a square? X plus 2 squared, perfect. Plus, what goes inside with the y being squared? Y minus 3 squared equals, if you add all these together, 3 plus 4 plus 9 gives you what? 16. And then finally, center and radius. What would be the center? Perfect. Okay, so center, change these, negative 2, positive 3, and the radius is what? 4. Square root of 16 gives you 4. Are you guys sleepy, or is this difficult and you're not understanding it? Sleepy, okay. Does anyone have questions on this so far? So I'm trying to make it as simple as possible so you can follow a pretty easy procedure. So I'm hoping that it's just a little warm and you're sleepy. I hope. Okay, one more of this kind. Again, I want you to rewrite this in the standard form. So 4x squared plus 4y squared plus 32x minus 16y plus 72 equals 0. 4x squared plus 4y squared plus 32x minus 16y plus 72 equals 0. Any ideas? Where do you think I start on this? Start by reorganizing. So you want to put the x's together, put the y's together. So 4x squared, line it up with the plus 32x. Then line up your y's. So plus 4y squared minus 16y. What do you think I'm going to do with the 72? Move it to the opposite side, so equals negative 72. Then you want to factor out the a value or whatever number is attached to the squares. Factor out a 4. Left behind would be x squared plus what? Plus 8x. Leave your space so you can complete the square. Again, factor out the value attached to the square, so take out the 4. Left behind would be y squared minus 4y, and leave your space again, equals a negative 72. Then, how would you get rid of the 4's in front? Divide them away. So divide away the 4's. You divide away the 4's, they eliminate, so we got x squared plus 8x. Leave your space, plus y squared minus 4y. Leave your space again. Negative 72 divided by 4. What's negative 72 divided by 4? You tell me. Negative 18. Okay. Now, the reason we want to divide these away is because otherwise you'd have to multiply by them and you'd get really, really large numbers, and you don't want to deal with that. Okay, so you want to divide them away. Then complete your squares. So to complete the square for the x value, middle number divided by 2 and square it. What would you add to both sides with the x? What do you add inside the parentheses with the x? 4 squared is plus 16, so add to both sides. Same thing for the y. Take the middle number, divide it by 2 and square it. So negative 2 squared means we add 4 to both sides with the y. Then if you rewrite this, what goes inside with the x being squared? Plus 4. What goes inside with the y being squared? Negative 2. And what will it equal on the other side? Negative 18 plus 16 plus 4 gives you what? 2. Almost. Then your center, change both the parentheses. So negative 4, positive 2. And what's the radius of this circle? Radical 2. Okay, that can't be simplified, so you leave it just like that. Questions on how I did that? Okay, last thing we're going to do is I'm going to give you 4 problems, or 4 equations, and I'm going to ask you to identify the following. Identify the following as a circle, parabola, or neither. So I'm just going to give you some equations, and I want you to tell me, is this an equation of a circle, a parabola, or neither? Okay, it could be a line, could be a cubic, okay, something in a third power. So I'm going to give you 4 different equations. I'm going to write them all down, and then we're going to try to figure out which one is which. So for number 5, 2x squared plus 2y squared minus 4 equals 0. 6 is x squared equals 9 minus y squared. For 7, y equals 4x minus 3. And number 8, 3y equals 4 minus 3x squared. Just write those down, and I want you to identify, is this an equation of a circle, a parabola, or neither one? And how do we know? So that's the important part here. It's not really enough to just know what the answer is. I want you to know why.
Could you just look at these and tell?
You can just look at these and tell. Yes, you do not have to graph them. Don't have to necessarily rearrange them. You could rearrange them, but you don't have to. Okay? Let's just look at this first one. 2x squared plus 2y squared. In our equations, how do you know if something is a parabola? How many squares are there in a parabola equation? 1 square. So is this possible that this is a parabola equation? No. Okay? If it has 2 squares and they're both the same number in front, what does that tell you that it has to be? A circle. Okay? 2 squares, same coefficient or same a value, the number attached to the square, automatically makes it a circle. How about this one? X squared equals 9 minus y squared. There's 2 squares, so it can't be a parabola. Is that a circle equation? Can you have any negatives in a circle equation? No. But is the x squared and the y squared on the same side right now? They are not. Notice in all your circle equations, x squared and y squared were on the same side. If you moved this over, you would get x squared plus y squared equals 9. Now, is it a circle equation? Yes. So sometimes you have to rearrange them to determine, but this is a circle equation. Okay? 2 squares plus in between, and they have the same coefficient in front of them. So that is also a circle. How about here? Obviously not a circle because it doesn't have 2 squares. Does it have 1 square? No. So it's not a parabola, so it must be a what? Neither. Okay? This is actually the equation of a what? What kind of shape is this an equation of? Anyone know? It's just a line. Okay, it's like a y equals mx plus b line. Okay, and then the last one, what kind of equation is that? Has only 1 square, so if it has 1 square, it's a parabola. Those are your answers. Okay, homework for this one, you're going to be doing worksheet 4. I'm just going to have you do the odds. Okay, so 1 through 21, you were just doing the odds. I will change it on the board. But hopefully you're listening. Just odds. That's it.